Hey guys, it's been a while since I've done a little quick cooking thing, so I decided it was time. And today we're going to have, it was scallopini alla limon. I'm messing that up terribly. I'm better at French than Italian, but normally I would have made this, and I've made this dish for centuries, it seems like, with veal. But I'm making it with chicken, so it's going to effectively be chicken breasts that are pounded thin, and then it's going to just be kind of chicken piccata, veal piccata is what they call it, depending on the restaurant you're in. It's effectively chicken in a sweet sauce with lemon, and it's very simple and really tasty. And so I hope you enjoy it. I'm gonna love cooking it, and then I'm gonna eat it. So the first thing I've done is I've melted about a tablespoon of butter and about the same of olive oil. If you recall from my scampi recipe, I do indeed use a combination of either butter or ghee along with olive oil. In this case, I'm using butter. Ghee, by the way, if you don't know what ghee is clarified butter, which you can buy in pretty much every natural food store. I have pounded the chicken breasts, and I'm about to dredge it in flour, and I've added a little bit of garlic powder to the flour. So as you can see, the chicken is sauteing at a little below medium, kind of between medium and low. You can see that there's flour on it. Remember, this is going to make your absolutely fabulous sauce. And as I mentioned, with chicken breast can be just destroyed if it's not cooked properly, if it's overcooked. So you're going to see me saute it gently in this combination. Notice the foam that's around the chicken, that's intentional. And once it has browned a tiny bit on each side, I'm going to remove the chicken and I'm going to begin to build a sauce combination and add the lemon and then let it kind of combine together. So I've added the salt and pepper, and the chicken is starting to saute brown just a little bit, very nicely, still on that heat between medium and low. I removed the chicken breast from the pan, and remember I've talked to you before about the poke contest, if you will. The poke contest is how much softness is there to the meat. That should be able to tell you how much more it needs to cook. And what you have to remember is that after I've created the foundation for our sauce and our future dish, this chicken's going to go back into the pan. And so leaving it in too long is going to make it too tough. Taking it out perfectly, which is, in other words, there's still a little give in the meat, as you can see. That's going to help make this perfect dish. The chicken being cooked perfectly without being overdone and dry. I've poured off some of the fat, leaving still a thin film there, and now I'm going to add other flavorings, including chicken broth or chicken stock. Of course, some wine. I'm always going to show you my sign. I cook with wine. Sometimes I put it in the food. And I'm going to let that reduce a tiny. Return the chicken to the pan, cover, let it get all of its flavors to blend. But before I put the pan lid on, I'm going to be adding slices of lemon. So I've added about a half a cup of chicken stock or chicken broth. You can make your own stock. I tend to buy it. I always have it in my refrigerator because I cook with it so often. So I've added about a half a cup of chicken broth or chicken stock. I've added about a quarter, maybe a little more than a quarter cup of wine. And as you can see, I am reducing this down to blend the flavors. What will happen next, I'll be adding the chicken back into the pan. So I've returned the chicken breast to the pan. I've added very thinly sliced lemon slices. I have removed the pits, of course, because we don't want to have pits. I'm now going to let it simmer in the pan on low heat for about 10 to 12 minutes. With veal, it may be a little tiny longer, so you have to pay attention to what you're cooking. But for chicken, in order to make sure it doesn't turn into shoe leather, you're going to probably 10 to 12 minutes is how long I'll have it sit in here. I'm going to cover the pan. I have it on low, and I want to make sure that it is not overdoing, but that the flavors are blending. This is also the place where the flour that we dredged the meat into will go into the sauce that we're ultimately going to complete after we've finished with the chicken getting to where it needs to be. I am not sure this could be any more perfect, but you notice the tenderness I'm still seeing in the meat. That's hugely important. So I did not, because it's chicken, it was not a full 10 minutes. I reduced the time to 5 to 7 minutes to make sure the chicken was tender. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the chicken out of the pan, put it on a heated plate, cover it to keep it warm, and then I'm going to be adding lemon juice and some butter to the sauce. So what's important for you to see is that I am now boiling down all of the flavors together. And what you need to understand is that there is going to be a change. The dynamic is shifting, the liquid is diminishing, which means the flavors are enhancing. And what I'm going to now do is add a squeeze of lemon to what's going on here. And yes, I'm going to take the pits out. But a squeeze of lemon, because remember, this is piccata. Piccata means with lemon. And then after I'm through with this is going to cook down for about another minute. And then I'm going to take it off heat and add about a tablespoon of butter, swirl that a little bit. That's also going to thicken the sauce. And then we're ready to go. So I've turned off the heat, and what's hugely important, it really depends on the pan you're using. I've turned off the heat, and you must make sure that you scrape off all the bits that are on the side of the pan. This particular pan is a favorite of mine. If you've watched any of the other videos I've done, you know this is kind of my go-to because it allows for so many different kind of things to happen. But right now I've added the butter. I'm going to include the butter into the rest of the sauce, and it creates a thicker sauce. Ultimately, when that drips down or reduces a tiny bit more, we are ready to eat, and I can't wait. My mouth is watering just like before. I wish there was smell-o-vision. So the original recipe I used had the lemons on the side, but I absolutely love putting the lemons right on top of the meat. And if you're going to do this with veal or with chicken, I like having the lemons right on top of the meat. It just adds to flavor. I should also say that normally when I've served this dish to guests in my home, I usually also make risotto, and I like to make risotto with asparagus and button mushrooms that have been cooked with tarragon. And so that's what I would normally serve, and so maybe the next recipe will be risotto. I would only ask if there's anything you'd like me to share, please let me know. I'm happy to do it if I know how to do it. Have fun, enjoy the meal. It is incredibly delicious and my mouth is watering. I would add one more thing, and that is sometimes, specifically with piccata, veal piccata, you're going to see capers added to the meal. I personally don't like capers on a meal where the meat itself is delicate. Chicken is delicate, veal is delicate. And I tend not to do that. However, if you love them, and I do love capers, then add them. But right now, and I will also share with you, be cautious on lemon. Don't overdo the lemon, just like you don't overdo the lemon with shrimp scampi. I just had a bite and my mouth is exploding and I'm very happy. Can't wait to finish it. I wish you the best with your new meal.